Hello and welcome to it. My name is Akshay. So this is continuation to part 4 of this .NET Framework tutorial series. In part 4 of this series, we have learned that what is strong named assembly, what is weak named assembly, and how to strong naming an assembly. Okay. Now in today's tutorial, we will learn how to install that assembly into GAC. But before that, we will know everything about GAC. What is GAC? How to install an assembly into GAC and when to install an assembly into GAC. Okay, so this is very important that you should know that when to install an assembly into GAC. We will see that in action. Okay, so don't worry about that. So first we see what is GAC. Okay, so GAC, that is Global Assembly Cache. So the assemblies which gets installed into GAC or are located in GAC folder are strong named assemblies and also called as shared assemblies. Now I have told you this in my previous video also, that these strong named assemblies are also called as shared assembly. Okay, and these assemblies can be shared by applications running on the same machine without having to copy assembly locally. Now what this means is, we'll see that in action. So for that, let's open up Visual Studio. So now what this program is basically doing, that it is simply printing this hello world message to the console. Now where this console class coming from? This is coming from this system assembly. That also we have discussed in previous video. So those who have not seen that, watch that first. Okay, so this is the continuation to that part only. Okay, so this console class is coming from this system assembly, and this system assembly is coming from this dependency. Okay, so in this dependency there is framework dependency, Microsoft.NET Core App. Okay, so as I have told you this before also, that whenever you install .NET into your computer or your system, two very important things gets installed automatically. First is .NET Framework class library and second is CLApp. So this system assembly is coming from that framework class library only. Okay, and today we will see actually how it is coming from there. So as you can see here, this Microsoft.NET Core App, just right click on that, go to properties, and I will just drag it here. I will maximize this, and now as you can see here, this is your path for that assembly. I will copy this, I will go to run, I will paste that here and I will enter. Okay, so go to ref .NET Core App 3.1, and as you can see, all the assemblies that are installed can be seen here. So we will find for that system.dll. Okay, so this system.dll. okay, this assembly is present here in this path. Okay, so again, now how this system assembly is a strong named assembly, that I have also explained you that in previous video, that this system assembly is a strong name assembly. But how will you justify that? So for that we will see, and I have shown you that also, that how to find and how to distinguish between strong name assembly and a weak name assembly. So for that we will go to C / Windows, and whatever operating system you have, you will find that out. And again, whatever operating system you have, that name will be here. And for me, this is Windows, and in that there is one folder, that is assembly. So I will go to that, and here we have to go to GAC. Okay, so now here also you will find system assembly. Okay, so here it is. So it is right here in GAC. So from this you can tell that this is a strong named assembly. Okay, if you see this assembly info right here, as you can see, it has all the 4 parts that makes this assembly a strong named assembly. That is display name, version, culture, public key token. Now all these 4 parts I have explained already in the previous video. Okay, so that's why I am recommending those who have not seen that video, you have to watch that video first, because this is continuation to that part only. Okay, we have seen in that video that how to sign an assembly with a strong name. Okay, and now in this video we will see how to install that assembly into a GAC. Okay, so this assembly is already installed in the GAC. That is it. This assembly is automatically get installed into GAC whenever you install a .NET on your computer. Okay, and now this is a strong name assembly. We'll go to our project again. And now it's proved that this system assembly is coming from that .NET framework class library. Okay, and this is also a strong name assembly. Okay, so now we will just add one project here, so that I will show you how to install an assembly into GAC also. Okay, so let's create one class library project here. So now I will select one class library project from here. Next, I will create that project. Okay, so now let's say in this class library project we have one static method which is public static, and which returns simple string. Okay, so maybe get message is the name of this method, and what this method will do, it returns only a simple message, something like hello from class library. Okay, I will save this, and now first I will build this project, this console app 2 project. Okay, so I have not yet given the reference of this project to this project. Okay, without that I will build this, that is console app 2 project. Okay, so build is succeeded. I will right click on that project. I will go to the option that is open folder in File Explorer. Go to bin, debug, and Netcore app 3.1. Okay, so as we can see here, it has generated assemblies. That is console app 2.dll. Okay, and now we will give this class library reference to this project. Now I have explained all this also in one of my videos in this tutorial series. You can check that out, that how to give reference of one project to another. Okay, so that's why I have shown you directly here, and I have not discussed about that. Okay, I have shown you directly how we have created one project, and now I will give a reference of this project in this project. Okay, I will right click on this project. I will go to add and reference. Now here it is the console app 1 DLL. I will click OK. Okay, so this reference is added here. Okay. Oh, so it is by mistake I have added an assembly reference of console app 1 and not this class libraries project. Okay, so it's not big deal. So we will consider this assembly as this class library assembly only. Okay, so anyway I want to show you just how you can install an assembly into GAC. So it is no big deal. We will consider this this console app 1 assembly as this class library project assembly only. Okay, so it is not a very big deal. Okay, so we have seen before adding the reference of this library project to this project, the folder, that is the assembly folder, was something like this. Okay, now I will build this project again. And now if you can see, you will find this console app1 DLL also present here. Okay, so as soon as you have given the reference of this project in this project and you have built this project, the reference of the assembly of this project also gets added to the bin folder of this project. So now why this happens? Okay, so just go to this assemblies, this console app1, and right click on properties, and as you can see here, let me adjust this. This copy local option. Okay, so by default nothing is here. So if by default is nothing is here, then this copy local will be yes. Okay, so what is this means? Copy local is yes. This assembly will get copied locally to the project which has the reference of this assembly. Okay, what we have seen here, that is in our slide, that these assemblies can be shared by applications running on the same machine without having to copy assembly locally. Okay, so strong name assemblies doesn't need to copy locally on that project. Okay, what, as you can see here. Okay, but here this assembly is not strong name assembly. Okay, and this copy local will be true by default. So that's why every time, let's say 100 project wants the reference of this class library project, then 100 copies of that assembly of this class library project will get copied into the bin folder of that project, whatever project has that reference of this assembly. Okay, so that is why if we install an assembly into GAC, then there will be no need to copy that assembly locally in each of the project. Okay, so again, but it is not like that we have to install assembly into GAC every time. So it is recommended that you install GAC only when it is required. Okay, why is that so? I will show you. Okay, as you can see, that second point, install assembly into GAC when this is required. Otherwise, they should be kept private only. Why? Do not install an assembly into GAC if you want to deploy your application on some another machine using Xcopy deployment. Now, what is this Xcopy deployment? Because in Xcopy deployment, we simply copy application files from the source machine to target machines without GAC files. Okay. So in this process, suppose you have installed your some depending assemblies into GAC, then that assemblies will not get copied into a target machine when you do Xcopy deployment. So that's why it is recommended when you only need, when there is a requirement, that time only you should install an assembly into GAC. Okay, so now we will see how to install an assembly into GAC in practical. Okay. Now this is the assembly, this project assembly I want to install into GAC. I will find this assembly first. I will go to open folder in File Explorer, bin, debug. Okay, so I have to first build this project. I haven't built this. I have to build this. Now, okay, now let's just open a developer's command prompt. Now, to install an assembly into GAC, we can use one Visual Studio command prompt tool, that is GAC utility.exe. We'll see GAC util.exe, and we have to go to this path. Okay, so I have to go to this path first. Okay, so before this GAC util, I will go to this path. I will change directory. Okay, cd that path. Okay, now we are in this path, and now in this path I will write GAC util.exe and the file name. So we want to install this assembly into GAC. Okay, now it will throw an error. Why? We will see, but just see that. Okay, so it have not installed an assembly into GAC. Why is that so? Because if you recollect, in my previous video I have told you only strong name assemblies can be installed into GAC. Okay, and I have shown you how to strong name an assembly or how to sign an assembly with a private public key pair. Okay, so we have to do that first. Okay, now what I will do, I will close this. I will run this developers command prompt again. And we have to create one private public key file first. Okay, and how to create that, that's also I have shown you in previous video. Still I am showing this here as well. Okay, so we have to use sm. So we have to use sm.exe -k. This k, this switch k is this switch k indicates that this is a key file. Okay, and any name you want to give, and the location where you want to generate that file. Okay, so I will again generate that in C drive only. C drive, in that C drive the name can be anything you want to give. Okay, so I will give sample1.smk, and you have to give this extension smk. Okay, and I will enter. Okay, so key pair return to C sample1.smk. Okay, I will go to C folder. In that C drive there should be sample1k smk. Okay, so we'll go to that location, don't worry, and we will find that key file here only. Okay, so sample1.smk. now we have to sign an assembly with this key file. Okay, that also I have shown you in previous video, but I am repeating this procedure in this video as well, so don't worry about that. I will copy this name, and again I have told you in something in previous video that we have to go to the assembly info class. If you don't find that here, okay, as you cannot see here, so we can create one, so don't worry, just add one class here and name it as assembly info.cs. Okay, and I will get rid of this code, I don't need this. I will just using one statement, that is using system dot reflection. Okay, we have seen all this in previous video. I am again repeating this, so don't worry. And we have to use assembly colon assembly key file, and in constructor of this assembly key file we have to give that file name with the path. Okay, and we have to escape this character. Okay, so this has a special meaning in between double inverted comma, so and the name of that file. Okay, and now I will just control S. Now I will just save this. Okay, and I will rebuild this again. Okay, so build succeeded, and again now go to that path. Okay, so this assembly is located here. We'll go to this path. We have to change directory to that path only. So now we are in that path. Okay, and now I will use getutil.exe. Okay, and the file name will be class library2.table. Okay, I will paste that here. Okay, again there is one mistake. I will tell you what is that. We have to give -i also here. So this -i here indicates that we are installing an assembly. Okay, and now press enter. Okay, so assembly is successfully added to cache. Okay, basically GAC. And now I want to show you something that in previous video I haven't shown you, or I haven't tell you about that also. Okay, so with .NET 4.0 we have two GACs. Okay, I have already shown you one GAC, that is C Windows Assembly. Okay, and with .NET 4.0 they introduce new GAC, that is new GAC location, that is C Windows Microsoft.NET and Assembly. So now as we are working on .NET 4.0, so whatever assembly we have just installed, that will be generated, that will be installed in this C Windows Microsoft.NET. Okay, sorry, in this C Windows Microsoft.NET and Assembly. We'll see that. Just go to that path, C Windows Microsoft.NET and Assembly, and you will find something GAC NSIL here. And as you can see here, class library 2 project that we have just installed, that is, this is the assembly that we have just installed here. So here this is the assembly. Okay, and this is a public key token, as this also I have explained in previous video. Okay, so you have to watch that video in order to understand this better. I am again repeating this. Okay, so what this is assembly number, that is, this is assembly version, and this is a public key token. Okay, and 4.0 is the .NET targeting .NET framework. Okay, so now we have seen how to install an assembly into a GAC. Now we will see how to uninstall that assembly from the GAC. Okay, we have to just follow same procedure. Just what you have to do is make one change here, that is, you have to write -u instead of -i. Okay, so this u is this u indicates you are uninstalling an assembly. Okay, press enter, and again as you can see here, number of assemblies uninstalled are 0 and number of failures 0. So why is that so? So when you uninstall an assembly, you don't need to give that extension here, just give the file name and press enter. Okay, so number of assemblies uninstalled is 1. If now we will go to that folder. Okay, so class library 2 project is, that is class library 2 assembly is not here. Okay, and again I want to show you something. Okay, so for that we have to install that again in that folder. We will just install that again. Okay, assembly added successfully. So this is the class library project here. Now, so the question is, now can we have assemblies with the same name? Okay, so how that we will see. Okay, so we know that this class library assembly has version. Okay, and what version of assembly is this? We will see that if you go to properties, details. Okay, so the assembly, basically this is a file version, but assembly version is this. but assembly version is also 1.0.0, as this is a default version and we have not changed that, so that's why assembly version is 1.0.0. So again, now how to change this assembly version, that also I have shown you in one of my previous videos, so you have to check out that in detail if you want to know that in detail. Okay, so for now what we will do, we will go to the properties, I will go to package section, and in here as you can see there is assembly version, and I will change that to 2. I will save this, I will rebuild this. Okay, so now as you can see this assembly okay, so this assembly has a file version of 1.0.0. we haven't changed that, we have changed the assembly version. For that matter we have to disassemble this assembly to find out what assembly version that I have shown you in my ILDASM and ILASM video. You can check that out, but trust me, this assembly version of this assembly is 2.0.0, and how I will show you that. Just go to developers command prompt again. Now I will try to again install this assembly into GAC. I will press enter. Okay, assembly successfully added. Okay, so though the assembly was present already in GAC and I have again installed it, but with this time there is a different version number. Okay, for that we will see, we will go to that GAC, we will go to class library 2, and as you can see there are 2 assemblies here with different version number. Okay, so this is one interview question also. So this is also called a side-by-side execution. If interviewer asks you what is side-by-side execution, so you can explain this, that there can be an assembly with same name but with different versions in the GAC. Okay, now again one question might be arising in your head. We have produced, okay, so we have produced 2 assemblies with 2 different assemblies with the same name but the different versions. Okay, we have generated that, but now if you want to uninstall this assembly, that is this class library 2 assembly, so how we can do that? Because now this has 2 assemblies with different versions. Okay, so how we can do that, I will show you that also. Now if you want to uninstall that assembly, we just found that command here. Okay, so there it is, but now there is one problem. Out of 2 assemblies, what assembly you want to uninstall? Because you have only specified the file name here, but you haven't mentioned which version of assemblies you want to uninstall. Okay, so if you try to run this command, what will happen, I will show you. Just because I have used that .dll here, so that's why this throwing this error. Okay, so this is not because of that, I will show you. Okay, so the number of assemblies are uninstalled, so the number of assemblies uninstalled are 2. Okay, so that is the problem. So now what if you want to just uninstall a specific assembly with specific version? So here if you have mentioned just the file name, then this tool have uninstalled both the assemblies with both the versions. Okay, so now if you want to just uninstall the specific versions assembly, so for that what we have to use is, we have to specify version as well as public key token. So how we will see that? Just put comma here, version, that is, let's say I want to uninstall an assembly with version 2. Okay, so 2.0.0.0. okay, and comma public key token equal to, so what this public key token? Okay, so now we have just uninstalled those assemblies, so you have to just install them first. Okay, again, okay, so the assembly with version 2 is installed here. Now what I will do, I will make that 1 again. I will control S. I will build that again. Okay, so build succeeded, and again I will follow same procedure, and assembly is successfully added. So now if you go, you will find both the assemblies, okay, with two different versions. So now if you want to just uninstall the assembly with version 2, okay. Okay, so let me put that again here. Version equals 2.0.0.10, okay, and public key token equal to, for that public key token we need this public key token number. I will copy this, I will paste that here, and now I will enter. Now this throws an error, unknown option. Why it is treating that 2.0.0.0 as an option? So that also I have to tell you that when you specify this version number public key token, you cannot give spaces, okay. So I will remove that space from here. You don't need to give space from after comma also, okay. So I will enter now, okay. As you can see here, number of assemblies uninstalled is 1. So only the assembly version 2.0.0 that only get uninstalled from this GAC, okay. This is how you uninstall an assembly with specific version, okay. Okay, so now we will see summary. An assembly with strong name can only be installed into GAC, otherwise we will get error after we run the command to install GAC. Okay, that I have explained you that only the strong named assembly can be get installed into GAC, and I have shown you that also. Okay, to install GAC, use gacutil.exe, that is GAC utility tool. Okay, so that I have shown you just now. To uninstall specific assembly from GAC, use fully qualified name or mention version and public key token as well. That I have just shown you. Okay. And again, one important point, it is recommended that install an assembly into GAC when it is required only, okay. So that also I have explained you. If you are doing an Xcopy deployment of your application, then because of this Xcopy deployment, we simply copy application files from source machine to target machine without GAC files. Okay, so that's why when it is recommended, only that time you have to, or you want to install an assembly into GAC, okay. Otherwise, there is no need. So that's it for today in this video tutorial. We will meet in our next video soon. So till then, stay tuned and thank you.